going to read a poem. I know, I should go and work in that deportation centre, shouldn't I, and have sort of literature therapy. But it's a very good poem by someone that the left hate, Rudyard Kipling. Of course, he's like chief racist amongst the lot of them. But in this poem, he's talking about the British, their tenacity, their patience, their resolution, their integrity, their tolerance. And it's a striking poem because it really does foretell where we have arrived at a nation. So let me do my best to read it in my most proper university-educated voice. It was not part of their blood. It came to them very late, with long arrears to make good, when the English began to hate. They were not easily moved. They were icy willing to wait till every count should be proved ere the English began to hate. Their voices were evened and low. Their eyes were level and straight. There was neither sign nor show when the English began to hate. It was not preached to the crowd. It was not taught by the state. No man spoke it aloud when the English began to hate. It was not suddenly bred. It will not swiftly abate. Through the chill years ahead, when time shall count from the date that the English began to hate. There you go. Right, talking about the English beginning to hate, I'll tell you what's really going to ruffle our feathers, and that is if members of the ISIS Beatles, those 4 disgusting, depraved jihadis who were cutting people's heads off in Syria, butchering people in the most brutal medieval fashion imaginable, pure evil they are, if they end up winning their appeal to be transferred to British jail, where no doubt they will learn to do embroidery of kittens, sing kumbaya, and join little Islamist cults, I think that really is going to upset the Brits. Let's speak now to Dr. Alan Mendoza, Executive Director of the Henry Jackson Society. We stripped them of their citizenship, and rightly so, but it seems to me the Americans seem to think that, for whatever reason, we should have them back. But it was the Americans who wanted them tried over there. Do you think they're going to be successful?
Well, that depends on the British government, doesn't it, Alex? If the British government sticks to its guns and says these aren't British citizens, these are not people who have any connection anymore with this country, we're not going to take them back, then I suspect we won't get them back. If, though, there is some kind of, sort of falling down again, the craven appeasement that we see the whole time in British foreign policy these days, then it'll be a different story. And, I know we want to stay close to the Trump administration, but there are bits here where we as an independent nation must say no to, and this is one of them.
I totally agree. And we all know, of course, I don't think American prison's particularly cosy or comfortable, but I worry about UK prison. They're sort of saying, oh, I want to be close to my family. I want to see my friends. I mean, these are the most disgusting, violent, dangerous, showing no remorse, sociopathically, absolutely broken, evil human beings as imaginable.
Right. So why would you even consider this is beyond me. These are treasonous individuals who took up arms against their country, who beheaded innocent civilians, in Syria. Their crimes are heinous. They are, their souls are blackened. There's no benefit to having them here. We should just say no.
I worry, though, that, I don't know where international law stands on all of this, but that seems to be the script, the Bible, the Holy Book and the Testament that Sir Keir Starmer and his good mate Lord Hermer used to make all of their decisions. Do you know if there is any sort of international provision once we've stripped people of citizenship that could trip us up and make us have to receive these people?
Well, they could try their luck in the courts, like Shamima Begum did, of course, but that didn't work for her. The courts upheld the government's decision to strip her of citizenship. I'm sure they would, because there's already been case law applied, I'm sure that this would go a similar way. So it's therefore a matter of political choice rather than law. But here, Alex, is where I would make this point. The government claims it's always bound by legal matters. For example, it claimed it had to give the Chagos Islands back for that purpose. But when it comes to things like declaring a Palestinian state, it has openly admitted this isn't a matter of legality now, because legality would be against it. You're actually breaching international law by doing that because you have no conception of what that state looks like. And they've admitted it's a political choice. So my fear is they will make a political choice to have these people back, whereas I think Donald Trump will appreciate a bit of British backbone here to say, no thanks, we don't want these people at all. You can do what you want with them, including putting them to death as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's actually Sebastian Gorka who's sort of a key advisor to Donald Trump, who seems to be suggesting that the United Kingdom has a responsibility to take these people. And, you know, just when you think, well, the government really won't want things to look much worse, and they're in a very tricky position when it comes to the Home Office challenge of the legal ruling over the Bell Hotel in Epping Forest, just when you think they're not going to make a ridiculously terrible looking decision again, they do. And you know, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if we capitulate over this.
Well, it should only surprise us in the sense that it would be an extremely foolish political move to make. The idea that people in this country would welcome these people back in some way, shape, or form seems to me a highly unlikely outcome. So, you know, any political pressure coming from this would only be from the Trump administration. And as I said, you know, I think we've seen examples that Donald Trump respects people who stand up for themselves in the appropriate way. And this is a very easy thing, I think, for us to stand up on and say, no way, not going to happen.
I agree. Let's hope that common sense prevails, although it seems to be in very short supply when it comes to the people running the country. Thank you so much for coming on the programme, Dr. Alan Mendoza. Let's do a couple of messages. David Leyland says, notice the shift in language, calling our flag a symbol. It's subtle, but a subliminal thought adjustment, similar to using irregular instead of illegal migration. They did this during COVID too. You're right. This whole idea that it is a symbol, no, it is just our national standard. It is our flag. The idea that it therefore has all these other connotations, these representations, these interpretations that other people might feel triggered by, this problematic other narrative to it. No, it's just a blimmin' flag. And this is it. They feed into it, don't they, by using this language. They play around with words to try and brainwash you, to hypnotise you into becoming some sort of adherent of their crazy, warped ideology. Very good message indeed. Peter in Lincolnshire says, I could think of better things to teach illegal migrants. For one, pothole filling, litter picking, long-distance swimming back across the channel. I've often said this, these men sitting around in hotels, if they want to earn a bob or two, which frankly they don't need a bob or two because their accommodation is free, their food is free, everything else is free, so they don't really need any money, do they? But what they should be doing is actually working if they're going to have taxpayer-funded accommodation. I don't understand why they aren't there with litter pickers, going around grass verges, getting Coke cans and Haribo packets. I don't know why they aren't being made to scrub graffiti off walls that looks unsightly in our towns and cities. I don't know why they aren't pushing mowers along grass verges to make sure that they look a little bit better kempt. I don't know why they're not filling potholes or cleaning toilets, because if they were genuine asylum seekers with wanting to integrate and give back to the country that is giving them refuge, they should have no problem in doing a little bit of work from day to day as a thank you for the hotel accommodation. But no. No. These poor darling lost souls, they can't be made to do that. The poor little preciouses.